You are listening to the Bring Joy Forward podcast. Conversations to explore, heal, and grow. You can find us on bringjoyforward.com and join us in our community group on Facebook. We now take you to the episode. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, I am Ramona Crabtree-Falkner with Authentic Life Journey, and I'm joined today by Shannon Brown with Open Door Healing. Thank you for joining us on the Bring Joy Forward podcast. So today we are going to chat a little bit about navigating the discomforts of change.
Yay!
So I think from my observations, I have a lot of clients that like when things are changing, they really struggle with that. And so I can talk about that from the place of a witness as well as my own experiences with it. And I can say in all honesty that it's been a week. so I think it's on point to be talking about this, because that is exactly where my energy has been, is in this discomforts of around transition and change, and finding peace within that is really a process and a journey. And it's an opportunity for us to really open our hearts to ourselves a little more, offer ourselves a tremendous amount of grace, which I encounter with many of my clients as they struggle with is being graceful with themselves. And instead they're, I need to just muscle through. I just got to get through it. I gotta get over it. I got to get on to the next thing, when really what we need is to be still in the chaos.
Yes, I totally agree. Yes, there's been a lot of change in my life, especially, change is constant. There's always things changing, but when there's big changes that come unexpectedly, sometimes, when I think it's when we're sideswiped, it's just like, and you're just like, what? And then you're in that hurry up mode of having to adjust, like, oh, I have to adjust to this new change. But that, I don't think that's the way that we're wired. At least a lot of us.
Well, and if we look at the natural world, that's not the way that the organic process is. We have 3 months of fall. Like, the leaves fall off the trees through a process.
Right.
It's not like we just go, okay, I'm going to let go of these leaves because it's, the fall equinox.
Exactly. That kind of cracks me up, because I was outside the other day, and in Texas, where I am, Central Texas, we have fall leaves and we have spring leaves. So I was kind of laughing, because leaves are the nemesis of my husband. He's just constantly leaves. And the wind was blowing and there were just leaves falling from the tree. And I'm like, well, here we go into our second season of leaves. So again, yes, just because we say spring starts March 21st or 2nd, it doesn't mean that nature's like, oh no, I'm going to do this now. This is when I need to shed, and it does it sometimes gracefully, sometimes not so much. It's same with me. Sometimes I adjust gracefully, and sometimes I rant and rave and like why until I get it all out, and then once I can get settled down into that stillness around the chaos is when the healing and the acceptance of this is just how it is now, and who knows which guru said it, but it's the reason that we have these negative emotions or emotions that don't feel good is because we're not accepting the reality of what's going on,
and so I actually used that phrase today. I was like, I believe that every situation is either a messenger or an opportunity to expand, right? And either one of those is an opportunity to expand. It's just so when we're looking at emotions, they're either I'm sorry, I said that wrong. They're either a messenger or an affirmation, right?
Right.
So if you're processing something and you aren't really honoring what it is that you need, then these heavier emotions can come in because we're not acknowledging what our inner guidance, our inner knowing is telling us to do, and we stay someplace maybe longer than we need to. I have a quote from Rumi. I'm going to grab it real quick so that we can so I can read it, because I think that it is a really beautiful message, and it is probably the messenger that has offered me the most ease in the process of change. So I'm going to share it with us, if that's okay,
Oh, sure.
because I think that it is such a beautiful message. So, The Guest House by Rumi. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Even if there's a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture, still treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thoughts, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from the beyond. When this beautiful poem came into my life, it was a key that unlocked a door that had been chained shut. As a highly sensitive person, as a highly emotional person, I've spent the better part of my life being told it's too much. Go to your room. We don't want to hear it. Don't cry. I can't handle it. Buck up. Time to move on. Get happy. And that never sat right with me. So when I started honoring the emotions, when I started honoring the discomforts that were showing up when things were changing, because as you said, things are always changing. So you can wake up one day and feel great, wake up the next day and not feel great. And if you're not living in that awareness of what's going on, you might be like, why am I feeling this way today? So the opportunity to develop awareness is really important to being able to navigate change with grace. The more aware that we are, the more space we give ourselves for grace, the easier it is to become the goo that the caterpillar becomes before becoming the butterfly while in the cocoon. Yeah.
Well said. Yes. It's awareness, but gosh, Anthony DeMello, one of my favorite mystics, his whole thing was awareness, awareness, awareness. Just being aware of what's going on around you and how it's affecting you. And I mean, yesterday I woke up, my body didn't feel good, and it wasn't that I was sick. I was just worn out from the day before and a situation that happened. And I had the opportunity to say, I'm not doing anything today. I'm resting because I have to go back to that situation again today. And I'm like, and it was gloomy outside. It was only 45 degrees. I knew I wasn't going to go outside. I could have gone to my list of to-do things and gotten a whole bunch of stuff done. Instead, I'm just like, no, this is what I need today. And I'm very blessed and grateful that I had that opportunity. Yeah. And even when hubby came home, and normally he's like, oh, what'd you do today? And I'll rattle off all the minute things, oh, I cleaned out the closet, whatever. He didn't do that yesterday because he just knew. He just knew that I needed space. I just needed to chill. And that's an awareness instead of pushing through like we talked about earlier. Before I would have said, okay, I have this day. I can't go outside and work in the garden so I can get all this other stuff done. And I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm going to, and I feel so much better today. And I no longer, because of the awareness that I have with my body now, I'm no longer have that guilt of I should have done all this other stuff. And I'm getting to that age that most of the things on my list, most of the priorities that I have only matter to me. I'm the one putting, all the pressure on myself that I have to do something. And it's like, no, I don't. Not today. I mean, but luckily I'm in a position where I can do that right now.
Yeah.
And I'm going to enjoy every single moment of it because I have a feeling that it's not going to stay that way. So again, adapting to that change. I've been kind of like, since both grandkids have gone to preschool now full time, and I've been a full-time grandma for 4 years, I have all this space and time, which I asked for. And now I'm like, okay,
I'm really uncomfortable now.
What do I do with it? And then at the end of the day, I'm like, what did I do today? Whereas before I knew what I did. But so yes, adapting to those kind of changes. And, you kind of talked about a little bit when you work with clients.
Yeah.
Well, I have this wonderful hubby, but change is not something that he likes at all. And I'm a numerology 5, and there's other tests I've taken. I'm a person that I constantly like to go. But I think that's just because I've moved around so much, being in the military family, and I'm constantly looking for something new. And he's just like, no, let's just keep it here, But so it's an interesting balance because he does keep me tethered. I would say, he does ground me a lot, and I do expand his horizons a little bit.
So the gift that we have taking this path, journeying through the path of self-healing and spirituality and cultivating a high state of awareness, self-awareness is the gift to being able to process big change. And when big changes happen, sometimes we get a little ahead of ourselves and we don't really give ourselves the awareness of, oh, a big change is happening. I should probably give myself some space. And I will tell you that ultimately, Spirit cleared my schedule out because I didn't give myself the space this week. And that space I desperately needed. And I didn't know that I was going to need it until I woke up in the morning yesterday and was like having a panic attack at 2:00 in the morning, and then went back to sleep and woke up very emotional. And instead of ignoring those emotions, I allowed them. I leaned into my support system. I leaned into my soul family and said, I am having a day and I need some help. And interestingly enough, yesterday was filled with opportunities to connect with soul family that was already built in.
Right.
And it was received very, very easily for me. Like, I was very thankful to have the space to spend the time either on a phone call or in person or with someone doing something, because that just opened up the space for me to be like, okay, I needed to grieve this shift. And I was able to process the emotional messengers that were showing up. And some of those messengers were, okay, you have to let go more. And some of those messages were, and now you got to bring this thing on board and you have to trust that it's all coming. So I'd like to share this one last thing today about this, because it's not just about you doing the work. It's about leaning into your support system physically on this planet, leaning into your support system spiritually through the divine in whatever way you connect to higher power. And so this morning I got up and I got on my yoga mat, which I haven't done in a couple of weeks, and I moved my body. And when I came towards the end of the practice where I was going more yin, I was slowing down, I was getting into the stillness. I went into child's pose and I just cried. And I just let the tears come out of me. And I said, I need help. I feel like I'm a little bit lost and I'm feeling a little bit not sure how to move forward. And interestingly enough, I chose a playlist on Spotify that I have never used before, because I was like, I'm going to do a flow practice today because I knew I needed to move my body in a dynamic way. And so having music playing helps for that to happen. And interestingly enough, the song that came on, I'm going to see if I can find it real quick. I can't come up with it right now. The lyric though is I'm going to see if I can sing it a little bit, just because I feel like it was really powerful. But so I'm in child's pose, I'm crying. I'm like, I feel like I've made a lot of changes and I'm making a lot of decisions that feel really uncomfortable and I need help. Please help me. Show me another sign. And I'd gotten several signs this week that everything I was doing was on target. So don't get me wrong, I was getting signs, but in that moment, I just really needed some additional support. So all of a sudden, I come up, I go into another posture, and the song comes on that has lyrics, which I don't normally listen to songs that have lyrics when I'm practicing yoga. And it was I'm gonna just tune it. So da 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 da, you know how I feel. Da 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 da, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. It's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. And that was the answer. It is a new day. It is a new dawn.
Yeah.
It is a new life. And it is all good. So even when we are in the most uncomfortable places we could be, when you call out for help, it will show up instantaneously if you ask. Change is uncomfortable. Getting okay with that is what was the key to unlock me being able to heal more.
Gosh, I feel like we just got a session. I'm like, wow, I feel good now.
Good. Yeah. Well, and that is to me the importance of these chats for us to share with our community. Listen, it's okay, and we are traveling that same path with you.
Yeah.
As Ram Dass says, we're just here walking each other home. Nobody has it all figured out. We're all learning and processing and experiencing and still growing. As long as I can take a breath, I still have things to learn.
Right.
I still have things to expand. So trust in the process. Give yourself grace. Lean into your support. Those would be the three things that I would say to help navigate change. How about you?
I think you hit it on the nail. Yes, for sure. And yes, and just having and opening up to the awareness of, so like you yesterday reached out to your support system. I did the opposite and just cocooned, which is what I needed. Now I probably could have reached out and so, but I just felt like my body needs to rest. I need to rest. I need to just be still. Okay. And both ways are correct. And you may use, I mean, and And so having that awareness of what is it I need today, and asking that question, what is it I need today to process what has happened, and how can I best process that?
Right.
And if it means, I think asking that question, and it could be what's the best way? You'd be surprised. There might be a phone call within 30 seconds.
Yeah,
Someone calls you out of the blue that you haven't talked in forever, say, hey, I'm just thinking about you, and they may say something, or a song may come on, so yeah, I mean, it's just, then there's not, I guess what I'm trying to say, there's not just one answer.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and in my experience, what you're saying was yesterday for you was Wednesday for me. So the process is not necessarily, okay, I got to run out and get the help. It's about self-exploring and then applying whatever it is that you need. And I know for me, sometimes that's just for me to take a nap.
Exactly.
Sometimes it's for me to express and talk through it. And as a Gemini, an air sign, talking through it is a huge piece of my processing. So I love that you brought that awareness up, because I think it is important to recognize that there's no right way to process. The point is give yourself whatever avenues that you need to process and trust in it. So beautiful. With that, know that it's okay to be uncomfortable whenever there's change occurring. And if there's anything that we can do to help you, reach out to us. We are part of the community and are happy to be of support to you. And so with that, we thank you for listening to our talk today. If you have enjoyed our talk, please be sure to hit that like button and follow us on bringjoyforward.com. And we will see you next time. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.
You have been listening to the Bring Joy Forward podcast. Conversations to explore, heal, and grow. You can find us at bringjoyforward.com. And we'd love to have you join us in our community Facebook group. Thank you for listening.